Hello everyone, my name is Samad Farouk and this is Magic Sword. Magic Sword is a role-playing strategy game my brother and I created that takes place in the fantasy world of Valdhomir, where monsters, wizards, and elemental powers are real. When you choose which character to be, you can choose between 4 different attack types. You can choose to be a warrior, you can choose to be a wizard, a trooper, or have elemental powers. Magic Sword can be played as both a single player or a multiplayer game with a maximum of 14 players. This is the city selection screen, where you can choose between 14 unique characters, each with their own starting skill benefits. There are 10 different skills, each having their own purposes. The first skill I'm going to talk about is critical thinking, which has to do with the ability to successfully understand books and training sessions. Haggling involves how many coins you can make when selling items and how many coins you can save when purchasing items. Persuasion is used for many things, including persuading trainers to train you and as a requirement for many quests. Crafting is used to create potions and crafts based on the items you mix together. With heating, you can cook raw meat and raw fish. When reaching a higher level, you can heat sand into glass, hide into leather, and other items, each with their own purposes. Smithing is pretty basic. The higher smithing skill you have, the better ores you can successfully smith as your weapon and armor. Stealth determines your ability to evade monsters or any enemies that may be looking for you. Your survival skills are very important. It can allow you to save fatigue, avoid traps, and traverse through harsh environments. Gathering is your ability to get food from plains and ponds, as well as gather different ingredients from different tiles. Excavating is your ability to find ores from caves, mountains, and battle zones. You can also excavate for many other items depending on the tile you are on. Next, I'm going to show you how the combat in this game works. There are 12 different attributes which you can level up once you reach 100 combat XP. And if you have a high critical thinking skill, then you can choose between which stat you want to level up. Agility determines on who attacks first and how many times you attack before your opponent can attack. It also allows you to dodge attacks. Cunning allows you to do fake attacks. The higher technique you have, the smaller your hitbox is going to be, as well as the smaller you can get your hits to make them more precise. And hit points is pretty normal, it's just the amount of hits you can sustain. Your attack is how many times you can attack. Stability has to do with how stable your attacks are. So say I have 5 attack, but I only have 1 stability. That means I'm much more likely to only hit 1 attack instead of my maximum of 5, or any number in between. And there are 4 different defense stats, each against their own enemies. So if you're facing a physical opponent, then your defense physical is going to be applied. Wizard, your defense wizard is going to be applied, and so on and so on. Alright, so now let's get into the fighting aspect of the game. So in your home city, you have the option to spar over here. This is really good in the early game because you only face weaker opponents. They don't get stronger as you get stronger. So in the early game right now, this is my first time fighting, so I'm getting around 40 experience, meaning I only have to win 3 times in order to level up. Okay, it looks like this guy has a defense, so it's going to be kind of hard to defeat him. This blue bar over here determines how long you have to choose which attack you want to do. And I press the F key to do a fake attack and the A key to do a real attack. So it looked like since the fake attack was blue, that means he defended against the fake attack and let the real attack hit him. Let's do that one again because he lost pretty fast. Alright, this guy has another defense. And it looks like I get 47 experience because his total level is higher than the other guy. Because it looks like this guy has agility and cunning. So, okay, look, this guy hit me. I'm pressing D to try to dodge, but since I don't have any defense, there's no point in pressing B. It looks like I missed that time. That's unlucky. Oh, and it looks like this guy's about to kill me unless I dodge. Oh, I did not dodge. So how the dodging works is based on your agility. The higher your agility stat determines how long you have to dodge the attack. And with your cunning stat, if my cunning was around 12, I'd be able to determine which one was a fake attack because the opacity would be different. Alright, so I died there, but since it was just a sparring match, I didn't get paralyzed or anything. I just lost the match. Alright, looks like I hit this. I do a fake with F and a real attack with the A key. Alright, so that was how fighting works in the lower levels. Obviously, in the higher levels, it's going to be much more chaotic. There's going to be attacks flying at you, and you're going to be having to determine which one's fake and real in a really short amount of time. But I'm not going to show that to you. If you want to determine that, if you want to see that, then you have to play the game for yourself. So there are two different types of actions in the game. There are major actions and minor actions. The sparring that we just did, it costs a major action or a minor action depending on how long the fight took. Resting is another major action. So you start a round with 2 major actions and 3 minor actions. An example of a minor action could be reading this book. Costs 1 minor action right there. And you can actually increase your amount of major and minor actions with quests and other things in the game. Next, I'm going to show you all the different cities and all their different hallmarks that they each have. This is the city of Anafola. Wizards from the city excel in persuasion and excavating. You can summon creatures from another realm to assist you in fighting, excavating, and gathering. You can do that by clicking on this castle of conjurers and requesting a contract. This is the city of Benfrige. People from the city use elemental powers to fight, and they excel in crafting. In Benfrige lies the Grand Library, where you can read and check out books to increase your knowledge. Dimitri is the trading hub of the world. It has a central location, and elementalists excel in bartering. Dimitri has the Grand Bank, where you can take out loans in case you need money quick. And the more you successfully pay off loans, the higher credit score you will have, which then allows you to take out more money at a time. Enfir, previously home to the Thieves Guild, who reimagined themselves as a reacquisition guild. In this guild, you receive quests to find a stolen item for a client and return it to its rightful owner. You are rewarded for this with coins. People from this city excel in stealth. Fodker was once a lavish city before consistent bandit raids destroyed their villages. Because of this, they formed the Defenders Guild, who receive missions to find and eliminate bandits who are terrorizing the world. They start with a boost to their smithing skill. Glacier is home to the Peace Embassy. They hold conventions between different cities to reduce the tensions they have. People from Glacier have a boost in their persuasion and survival skills. Kubani is the oldest city in the world. They are held to an ancient order that studies and teaches the arts of interacting with your environment. They have boosts in crafting, gathering, and survival. Pafiz is a splinter city from the Wizards of Tamariza. They are home to the meditation chamber, where you can gain limited boost to your combat the longer you meditate. They excel in the persuasion skill. Sketcher is a gladiator city. They pride themselves on their combat skills and hold tournaments where people fight in the arena for pride and currency. Starfex is home to the ancient museum that collects ancient artifacts and offer rewards for any you may find. They start with boosts to heating and gathering. Tamarania is renowned for their great smithing skills. They are home to the Smithing Guild, where you can add temporary enchantments to your armor for a variety of perks. Tamariza's hallmark is the Wizard Tower, where you can subscribe to membership for 3 mystical benefits. They start with a boost of the critical thinking stat. Tutalu is one of the only 2 trooper classes, the other one being Fodker. They excel in excavating. And Tutalu is the Hunters Guild, where people come requesting to slay monsters that are wreaking havoc. And last but not least, Zanzibar, which is home to the Hidden Ninja Lair. They excel in stealth. Now let's go over the board. The first tile I'm going to discuss are the pawns, the safest tile in the game. Pawns are where you can find fish, clay, and a monster known as the Great Serpent. Next up is the plains. The plains is home to huntsmen who can train you in different stats. It is also the place you can gather raw meat. The old library is a dangerous place to travel when you are weak, but you can find various knowledge books and hermits who can train you. The outposts are home to the bandits, a good spot for training and gathering ingredients. In the caves lie dangerous monsters. The further you descend, the higher level monsters you encounter, as well as the rarer ores you can find. Mountains are a dangerous place to be if you don't have a high survival skill. You can excavate for ores in any level, but similar to the caves, you can ascend to find rarer ores. The ruins are former villages that have been destroyed. You can find old books, cloth, and wizards who can train you, if you persuade them. There are only 2 battle zone tiles in the world, which is between the neighboring cities of Zanzibar and Enfir. There are groups of ninjas who will attack you on sight. You can find various rare ores here. The wilderness is the most dangerous place in the world. This is where you can find the rarest of ores, but there are mutated monsters who live here, waiting for any prey. There are a couple other things I wanted to briefly discuss about the game. It's not all about fighting and going to these different tiles and excavating. There are actually quests that you can do. So in the stage 1, you're allowed these very simple quests, bring sand, bring a knowledge book to the boy. There's some that require high stats, like this one. The probability of me successfully sparring with the boy is my base attack divided by 4, so it could take a while if I was pretty weak. This one excavated by 2, and so on and so on. And if I complete 4 stage 1 quests, then I'm allowed to move on to stage 2. If I complete 4 stage 2 quests, I'm allowed to move on to stage 3, and so on and so on. And another thing I wanted to discuss is capital. So I can buy a home which costs me 8 coins, and it allows me to rest more in the home that I bought the city in. So previously I was only able to rest for 3 fatigue without a home, but now I can rest and it's 5 fatigue. And I can also buy a market, which gives me 1 victory point in capital. My home gave me 2 victory points in capital. And with this market, if I had any items that people were willing to buy, I don't have any valid items to sell. Let me change that really quick. So if I have an item that is that people are willing to buy, so an item that is sold in the market but is not available at this current time, I can attempt to sell it. I can put it up for sale and I can attempt to sell it. My base chance of selling is 19%, plus my persuasion chance, but I have 0 persuasion, so it's still at 0, and that determines my total sell chance. And the price can be determined based on my bartering skill. So if my bartering was 12, this could be around like 10 or something. Alright, so that's how the selling in the market works. I don't want to attempt to sell that right now because I want you to experience that for yourselves. I just want to discuss on how you actually win the game. So the priorities for winning the game can change depending on what you make it, but the standard is reaching 40 victory points in 2 different stats, 2 different categories. So if I had 40 combat and 40 knowledge is when I would trigger endgame, but that doesn't necessarily mean I would win the game. I can trigger endgame if I think that I am the one with the most total victory points, but if I only have around 90 victory points and I trigger endgame, but another player has 120 victory points compiled between different categories, then they would actually win the game. So you have to be smart on when you trigger endgame. So that's about all I wanted to show you. I didn't want to go too in depth because I want you to experience the game for yourselves. That's it for the tutorial video. I hope you guys really enjoy the game, and any feedback would be much appreciated. Thanks.